Alright, welcome, you mother effing queers. So, I'm gonna be doing a few things lately with the Dragon Age. First and foremost, we're going to be covering the character creation menu. Because obviously, as you know, there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes down to Dragon Age, especially Dragon Age Inquisition. That game was proto-woke. That was woke before most of wokeness ever occurred. It was pretty much like, that was prototype 0, for being honest. Man, I remember in that character creation, see, here's something about Dragon Age Inquisition. I loved the game. I loved the gameplay. I loved the RPG elements. I loved the world. I loved the graphics. Again, I loved the combat. I really liked the multiplayer mode, even though it didn't get a lot of content, and that sucks. I did really love the multiplayer mode, though. There's a lot of things I really enjoyed about Dragon Age Inquisition. The story actually got to me. Not all of it, but, you know, and I hated the women. The women were ugly in that game, but everything else I pretty much liked. So it's very strange because we're here and it took forever for Dragon Age, well, the sequel. It happens to be the Veilguard, but the sequel to Dragon Age Inquisition, it took forever for it to come out. I thought BioWare was a dead company. As I remember, they came out saying that they were dead. And I guess they're still around. It's very weird, but okay. So now we're here. This is an absolute abomination. I'm very disappointed in the developers. And, I mean, what? It's not the same developers, of course, and, you know, it's like, what do you expect? It's just so unfortunate, but Dragon Age Inquisition had really ugly women. And, I actually have one of their faces saved for an upcoming thumbnail to one of my videos. Had really bad looking women all around. And the reason why, when I played Dragon Age Inquisition, I played as a man. Why did I do that? Because I couldn't make an attractive female. That's the reason why. I was like, okay, I'll look like the best looking dude I can make. Because none of the women are attractive. Well, now we got this game, and it's an absolute freaking joke. The women are just ugly and woke, right? They look like liberal leftist women. And I don't really have to say anything more on that, honestly. So, yeah, am I amazed by this? I mean, everything's woke now, so I guess I'm not that surprised, but anyways, we're going to be making our way through this video. We're going to be checking out the character creation. And then after this video, we're going to be checking out the beginning of the game. And I actually think I'm going to be posting it on the main channel because this is a big enough situation here where Dragon Age the Veilguard is just an expression of how far a lot of gaming has fallen. But, you know, this company's been going woke for a long time. They were proto-woke. So it's not like we're too confused. I mean, honestly, though, with how woke everything is nowadays, something like Mass Effect Andromeda pales in comparison to this. At least that game had decent combat. At least Mass Effect Andromeda had, I mean, the women were not attractive, but it had a good RPG world to go through, had decent gameplay, decent RPG progression systems. You know, Mass Effect Andromeda was also proto-woke, and it was terrible in so many ways. My face is tired, right? Man, that's a blast from the past. Holy crap. You know, it was like 3 years ago, by the way, I actually picked up the multiplayer for that game, and I actually enjoyed it a little bit. The abilities feel pretty good. There's not enough content, but I played a lot of the multiplayer. It was really repetitive, but I enjoyed the gameplay. So it's crazy because when things were proto-woke, right? The stories sucked. The characters sucked. Everyone's ugly, specifically the women. Breast size sucks. And the world, there's no world that's worthy of getting lost into. But I really enjoyed a lot of things about the gameplay, even for these proto-woke games. So it's interesting though, because now we got these games are, and by the way, when we do cover the gameplay for this game, you're going to see, I mean, Dragon Age the Veilguard has some of the worst gameplay. It looks really stale, really stiff. It doesn't enamor you. You know, when I watched Dragon Age Inquisition, it looked beautiful and it was really enticing to watch the combat and to play it too. With this game just looks cartoony. It feels like a parody. And now we're going to go through the character creation. We're going to see, you know, they screwed up the, what do they call the Canary? And everyone's talking about it. And good, they should be. I mean, we're just revealing how much the woke, they ruin everything. Even properties that are slightly woke, right? They find a way to screw up everything. Even stuff that is slightly adjacent to themselves. And I wouldn't say, by the way, that Dragon Age is exactly a woke property, but they were leaning towards woke much earlier than other companies. That was all. That's all. So anyways, let's do this. Let's bring this. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. Oh my, this is painful. Just looking at this. Let's do it. All right, so we got the elf who looks Hispanic. Very quick thing about elves. Anglo-Saxon, European, Caucasian folklore. That's where elves come from, all right? That's where they are ultimately popularized, and that's where the idea ultimately originates. So any idea of elves being anyone except a white person is a complete joke. An elf is not Asian. An elf is not Hispanic, not Muslim, not black. So screw you. Stop trying to freaking culture wash this folklore, fairy tales, whatever. Stop trying to overwrite, quite frankly, this literary history. And that's all I have to say about it. I could make some stipulations. Screw stipulations. Get the frick out of our frickin' properties. Enough. Enough. Quit hijacking white culture. It's ridiculous. Alright, yeah, so the Canary. Yeah, they look terrible. Look at his body builds. It's like this weird, like, amorphous, quite frankly. It's supposed to be like androgynous, gender-wise. It's like it could be a woman that's on steroids, or it's a dude that eats too much. It's one or the other, okay? Then there's the human, by the way. Why do you think the human is a black male? Yeah, because that whole thing, 2020, we got a lot of work to do. That whole freaking thing about Black Lives Matter. Sorry guys, we're so sorry that you're in a white country. We got a lot of work to do. We gotta transform a white country into a melanated country so that you don't lose your mind every day and tear down statues. We're so sorry. Love of God. Bro, wokeness, absolute disease. Freaking screw this trash. Same thing with multiculturalism, socialism, feminism, go down the list. The gender crap, it's all a freaking joke. And the dwarf is just some ugly looking female. Okay. Oh Lord. What the frick? Basically pecs for boobs. Get the frick out of here. Get the frick. Okay, hold up. It's being stupid. Alright. So gay. Gay character creator. What man looks at those breasts and he says, for one, I've got a raging hard-on. That's number one. Number two, I want to stick it inside of her freaking vajayjay. What dude looks at those breasts and says, I will inseminate now? What dude? There's no guy that's attracted to this build on a woman. Notice how the woman, by the way, is very muscular. She has the kind of muscularity of a man. A man builds out his muscles to that definition. A woman does not. And only the women who are, what is it called? It's ACG or ACHG, whatever it is. It's some kind of thing that boosts the testosterone in women. Basically steroids for women, let's just face it. Only that will allow a woman to get the muscularity of a man. You know, women don't have the testosterone of a man. That's why they're higher in body fat percentage than a man. And by the way, of course, men are attracted to the slim body fat percentage of a woman. That's why women have boobs, okay? We like the way that women are built. When women have muscles, it's disgusting. Quite frankly, it's gross. Men like it when women are dainty, frail, and they've got normal, they're not fat, they just have normal body fat percentage, which happens to be slightly more than a man. Only a man should be slim in his physique like this, okay? And I'm not going to make like a stipulation on a guy being brawny because, you know, we all understand what muscularity looks like on a man, right? So we don't have to go into that. Even if a guy's stocky though, right? He's brawny. He still shouldn't have a bunch of body fat unless, you know, he's, I think, I don't think I'm getting this wrong. I don't think it's xenoestrogen that's in beer, but if a man drinks beer, that there is a lot of estrogen, or I think it's something with the hormonal receptor that beer increases estrogen. Oh shoot, man, freaking screw my life. I forget what it is. It's one or the other. I don't think it's xenoestrogen, but okay, I'm just gonna say it like I remember it. And I'm probably wrong on this, but as I understand, beer actually inhibits the receptor for, I believe it's testosterone, which basically, right, conceals your testosterone, which makes the estrogen pronounced greater in a man. That's why a man gets a beer gut, right? A beer belly when he drinks a lot of alcohol, because you're basically inhibiting your testosterone receptors. It's either that or an increase, or there's estrogen naturally within because of the fermenting process with beer increases your estrogen. I don't know, bro. I was learning about it recently, and then I completely just forget it because whatever, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so many things you can remember. Let's just freaking face it. I listen to too much freaking crap, right? Let's just be honest. Or listen to, right? Whatever. I read too much. I do all these things too much. Whatever. So someone correct me if I said something wrong, okay? That's the freaking point here. I don't give a freaking crap. Anyways, you can look into it, and I'll probably have to look into it myself after this video so I can correct myself, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, beer, okay? What beer does, it nullifies testosterone, okay? That's just what happens. That's why dudes end up flabbier when they drink alcohol. That's what happens, okay? Yeah, again, these look at the body posture. Look at the way they carry them. Look at the freaking hips. Oh my God, it's such a weird amorphous mixture of a man and a woman. It's like man arms. They tried to curve in the waist like a woman, but then they gave the hips of a dude. They tried to give the breasts of a woman, but then just ends up being disgusting, flabby pecs of a man. What the frick? Even look at the collarbone. It looks like the collarbone of a man. What the heck? And then the way that the legs are postured. A woman typically has her legs a little bit closer together, right? They don't have gonads. But this is like a weird mixture where we're acting like there's gonads, but they're not very big. So we have like a slight in between of a man's body posture and a woman's standing body posture. This is disgusting. Who the frick thought that this was acceptable? Is there an employee that jerked it off to this? Were they like, oh man, this is so attractive. Oh, thank God we got the pronouns, by the way. Wait, you can have pronouns and then gender. Come on, man. This is literally clown worlds. Literally clown worlds. What the frick? And they're so disgusting. And they're all different races. This is silly. This is silly. This is not what an elf is. Oh my gosh. Non-binary. Wait. Rook's gender reflects how she sees herself. Well, why did you say she? Oh, because pronouns say she? How do you know she right now feels like a woman? How she sees herself. Okay. Does not affect gameplay. Well, it definitely affects the mental health of real life people when they decide to say, I'm something that I'm not. You freaking clowns. You freaking clowns. You stand, by the way, let's be clear about this. You stand with Satan. You are with Lucifer. You are pure evil. You are pure sin. This is God in the Bible declares that you go to war with those who make practice, who make a livelihood or make worship of sin. This is worse than sin. This is an abomination. There's a reason why God says go to war with these things. Because this is pure evil. This is the nature, the spirit of Lucifer right here. It's not, by the way, that's a whole other conversation, how Lucifer acts. Because Lucifer acts through people, not just through himself, okay? Let's just be clear about that. But this is the Luciferian dialect in play right here. This is demonic. This is demonic. Do not forget this. This is absolute Satanism. This is absolutely demonic. Do not overlook that. I know a lot of people, they like to overlook it. I know a lot of people, they like to be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. No, let's be very clear about this. Wokeness is a spiritual war to demoralize you and ultimately rid you of yourself, of your manifest, your matter, your ego, to ruin yourself of your very biological being. Again, your manifest, your matter, and then your identity, your ego, okay? It's to ruin every element, deconstruct your entire essence and being, and reconstruct it into this artificial worth that does not exist, is not proven, and it's not even functional. It is to construct a new abomination out of the individual that you are, is to make you a ideologically synthetic organism. That is the point of wokeness. It is to completely derail and erode your very living spirit and your very existential being as a whole, okay? Again, existential being to ultimately, let's just face it, to molest your matter, your manifest of your physical body, okay? And that's what they support here. Again, do not forget how evil this is. That's a deeper conversation. I've made many videos, by the way, on this. I've made a video talking about how wokeness is Satanism. You can find that in the gaming topics playlist. And I've made a couple of other videos just regarding that wokeness is a spiritual war. I've gone into greater detail about these things, okay? But let's just be very clear about this. This is pure evil. They try to pass it off. Again, this is a deeper conversation. They try to pass it off as good. They try to pass it off as heavenly and divine. Why? Because Lucifer can only convince you, and he can only operate by mocking the image of God. What does that mean? He takes on the moniker of God. He tries to possess God's being, his name, his essence, his image, his overall image. He makes a mockery of it. It's not intention. Well, that's not the intentional message. It's ultimately the end outcome is a mockery. But in the end, that's just the result. But really what Satan just ultimately, or Luciferian intent is, the way it functions is to take what God is, deconstruct it, defile it, and redefine it as yourself. So, take what is Satan and prop it up as good, right? As moral, as holy. And that's what egalitarianism is. Men and women, they're the same thing. And you are wrong and you are evil and you are, air quotes, satanic. They don't call you satanic, but you are sinning against egalitarianism. Literally most people today, they follow the religion of egalitarianism, polytheistic religion, by the way. That's a video that will be coming out at some point. But anyways, they worship, most people, including Christians today, they worship egalitarianism, not the Bible, not God. They worship egalitarianism. Have a conversation with most people. Is a man and a woman, are they the same thing? Can a woman lead just as effectively as a man? Most people will tell you, yes. No. By God, by design. And it's very, again, another deeper conversation, but we're just brushing it right now. But by design of God, and also just nature in general, men are built for leadership. That simple. For authority, for dominance, and for sovereignty. Men are built for this. We all know that the best leaders are men. The worst leaders are women. We've seen many examples of this. I have personal examples. Many other dudes, they have examples of this. Geez Louise, how many CEOs, how many writers, how many directors that are female do we have to see fail at their jobs before we say, okay, fine, yes, they are bad. Yes, men and women are not equal. Anyway, how many people, though, they want to say that men and women are the same? How many people, socialism is an interesting thing where we want to equate the man who labors with the man who does not labor. That is what socialism is to equate the man who produces economical outcomes, economical produce, and equate his worth and his value to the man who does not produce anything. There's a lot of people who are socialist. For instance, taking care of homeless people, you are effectively a socialist. Instead of helping out people who work a job, you're helping people who don't work. Okay? Charity is ultimately an act of socialism. Let's just face it. Again, we can go into multiculturalism, all the other things. How many people stand beside things that are feminist? By the way, a lot of modern day conservatives, air quotes, they all stand beside feminism, and I mean all of them. Recently, we've had this whole thing where, I guess I'll mention it, right? We recently had a guy mention that no intelligent women spend any time around Trump, right? Donald Trump. And then a bunch of freaking conservative women came out of the woodworks saying, I'm a strong woman. Hey, buddy, you better watch it. Watch the way you're talking to me, buddo. I'm gonna freaking wreck your face if you speak in that manner towards me, buddy. They're all freaking, right? They're all making basically TikToks playing tough towards a man. It's freaking ridiculous. It's like, you're a woman. Stop it. Even if you're a boss biatch, you're not you're some freaking career woman, doesn't make you tough. It doesn't make you strong, doesn't even make you a good leader. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of these women, the only reason that they get away with saying that they're super tough and they're super strong and like, oh, I'm a freaking boss babe. The only reason they get away with it is because they're hot. If these chicks were ugly, everyone would be like, okay, you can stop it now. Just shut up. Everyone would be saying that. But when a woman is hot, she can act like she's tough. We can act like she's brave. We can act like she's a bunch of guys say that she's a beast, right? That chick, she's a monster, man. She's gonna wreck that bro. She gonna wreck those brothers. I mean, we're acting like these women are gangbangers, right? We're acting like they got freaking gold chains. They're freaking pimping. They're freaking womanizing on other women. These lesbian girl bosses. It's freaking. It's gay. It's retarded. Enough with this. But again, look at how many people are egalitarian. Most people really, they don't believe in much except for the zeitgeist of today. Let's just face it. And specifically, though, what people really do believe in right now today is Satanism, which is egalitarianism. Again, that's a whole other video. I've spoken about this many times now, but that's going to be a separate video at some point. Anyway, but that's what we see a lot of, is that this embrace of Satanism, which is egalitarianism, to make and to equate the distinctions of all things and to meld it all together, make it amorphous, make it androgynous, and treat it all as the same and as well as interchangeable. And that's where we end up with this kind of dog crap. A character creator where you can make up that you're man or woman. A character creator where you literally have the biceps of a man. Well, women can have biceps too. Women can look like a man too. Women can be, boss babes in the military. They can be generals too. Yeah, and also a man can breastfeed. Okay. Yeah. And a man can give birth. Yes. Same thing. We want to act like that women can possess the roles as well as the functionality of a man. But what's hilarious is that the closer women get towards trying to compete with men is the greater that they fail. So then we start sitting here and we start pandering to them, being like, oh, we shouldn't have men in women's sports. Well, who cares? Women are just like men. So men should be in women's sports, right? Oh, now it's a problem because women can't compete. Let's be very clear about this. If a bunch of women, and this has happened many times, by the way, it's already happened many times, but if a bunch of women, they try to make a company, they try to make a business, they're going to fail. But I mean, okay, hold up. Men and women are the same. So it would just be so interesting to see a bunch of women get together and make a company, make a business, make a product together. No men involved. By the way, Cliff Bar, if you know what Cliff Bar is, it's a protein bar. It was made by a dude in his garage. Here's something interesting about Cliff Bar. You want to know what Luna Bar is? Which has a lot of success too, as a protein bar, workout bar, whatever. It's not a workout bar, but it's for like active people. That's how they market the bar, whatever. Luna Bar was made by Cliff's wife. How do you think his wife made Luna Bar after Cliff made Cliff Bar? Do you think that the money Cliff made with Cliff Bar had anything to do with the money used to prop up Luna Bar? Luna Bar, by the way, is sold as a female woman-made product. It is intentionally a feminist product. By the way, there's many products like this. By the way, there's many women who have a lot of male mentors when they get into a lot of stuff. When they do politics, when they do whatever it is, a lot of different companies, a lot of different businesses. And then they always sit there and they're like, woman-made product for women. If you want to support women, you want to get behind the girl boss dream, you just support this product. And of course, how did these women even get to their position? Because anytime women get together and they actually make a business together, it always fails. So that's interesting. It's like, how did they make it work? Because there's a man behind the scenes. It's always that way, every time. And a great example is Cliff Bar and Luna Bar. Again, how do you think Luna Bar got made? Because of Cliff, okay? It's just that freaking simple. The wife, she didn't have to do really anything, okay? Cliff could have made a freaking secondary product with his son instead. Or I don't know if I don't have a clue if he has a son, by the way. But I mean, he should have had a son and then just make a business with his son. Instead, he did it with his freaking feminist whore wife. Okay. It's freaking ridiculous, but here we are. This is what feminism is. We act like women are equal to men, but yet when women directly compete with men, they always fail. So then we have to give a woman a crutch, and then they can sit there with as the crutched and bruised and ultimately disabled girl bosses that they are, right? They're sitting there with stitches and bruises, and they've got these crutches on both of their arms, underneath both of their armpits, and they're sitting there completely disabled. By the way, they're also in a wheelchair, and whatever else you want to add on to this scenario. They're sitting there yapping their heads off on TikTok, saying that they're a freaking girl boss babe. It's freaking nonsense. It's freaking ridiculous. This is why we have Clown World, though. And now I'm hearing this thing recently, by the way, where you have a lot of people saying that there's a distinction It's so funny when leftists, they try to double back on their positions. Now there's a distinction between a leftist and a liberal. No, they're the same thing. Liberals believe in the same thing as leftists. You want to know the only difference between a leftist and a liberal? A leftist is completely comfortable with exposing, but let's just say expressing. They're expressing their worldview, and they're willing to act on their convictions. A liberal is not as comfortable with expressing their worldview and acting on their convictions. They're much more timid about this, about their beliefs, about their ideas, about what they wish to make a manifestation within the world. Because they know that some people might laugh them out of the room. And then, we've been living through this right now, how much of this woke dog crap's been going on. But they understand that there's a hint of doubt that they should be practicing. For whatever reason, maybe it's just social pressure, whatever it is, they're not completely comfortable coming out with it. But there is no realistic difference between a leftist and a liberal. It's just how comfortable are you with expressing, ultimately exposing your intentions to the world. That's it. That's all it is. They all believe the same thing. It's the same logical outcome. There is no difference. You are either a leftist/liberal or you're not. But of course, nowadays, something interesting's happened where Republicans, by the way, are basically another name for liberal/leftist. So, I mean, it's a uniparty, bro. Just realize that. With all this freaking dog crap, that's all I have to say. Let's keep going, love of God. I mean, yeah, okay, by the way, we're going to bring this down. But yeah, this looks absolutely terrible. Just look at this. I mean, look at the background. I remember that Dragon Age Inquisition looked way better than this. Just the background alone. Oh my gosh. And she has a man jaw. She has a man jaw. Yeah. What the frick?
Goodbye, gravity.
Oh wow. That's
It's your
that's
universe.
great. I have nothing to say about that. I literally have nothing to say about that.
And auto insurance with USAA.
I'm just going to purse my lips on that one. I mean, okay, no, you know what? Screw it. That was the most retarded freaking advertisement I've ever seen. All right, that's all. Not really. There's a bunch of retarded advertisements out there, but that was just... I don't know why someone decided to make that a freaking ad. Let's just be honest. I hate my life having looked at that. So you can do warm, neutral, or cool. Are they really that afraid to just say black or white? Oh my gosh. Melanin. Okay. Oh my gosh. This is such a politically correct... Vitiligo? What is that? Vitiligo? What is that? Oh, that's strange. What does that mean? Vitiligo. What an absolute abomination, bro. Oh, Lord. Oh, hold up. Oh, man, I have to sneeze. Oh, frick. This is gonna be brutal. Frick, man. Shit, brother. Sneezing my freaking lungs out. Wow, this is just perfect. This is absolutely beautiful. So much so, I just want to go through this at 2x speed. So, cheekbones? Okay. Wow. You can have some really beefy cheekbones. I guess you can make Squidward in this game. Look at that background. Look at the clouds. Yo, that's terrible. Wow, you can make, oh my, you can make freaking hunky Squidward in this game. I swear to God you can. It looks like you can. Golly, this is so terrible. Okay, the jaw. So I guess you can look like a freaking Chad as a woman. Well, I'm glad that you can make a masculine face in this game. Too bad you can't make a legitimate female. I mean, technically you could, maybe. Kind of looks like you can probably make a feminine jawline in this game. It kind of looks, oh my god, but you can't have any legitimate breasts. This is disgusting, bro. Ugh. Ugh. Oh wow, is this guy trying to make Voldemort? Or what the frick is his name? Voldemort? Voldemort? Yeah, by the way, Harry Potter's freaking gay. Screw that trash. It's made for women. It's freaking made for women. Oh wait, is he trying to make Solus? He might be trying to make Solus. I don't know. It's Voldemort, right? Help me. Freaking help me. I'm struggling. This is a terrible... I feel like he's trying to make Solus. I don't know. What is that? Two different... Okay. Oh, that's just weird. That's so disorienting. Disorientating. Sclera. I've never read that before. What is sclera? Man, they're really trying to flex their freaking vocabulary on me. I'm getting freaking pressed right now, bro. Oh good, we can have unibrows. They really wanted to go all in on ugly people for this game. Jeez Louise. Forget it. I give up. Okay, fine. Like, let's just make abominations of mankind. You know what the weirdest thing is, by the way, for me? Okay, this is something that I think is new. I don't believe that this is something that... What the frick? Oh, that was... Oh my gosh. No way. Hold up. That's so bad. No way. By the way, I totally forget some of the point I was making earlier about egalitarianism and whatnot. Oh yeah, I was mentioning how this is just pure evil. There was another point I was making within all that. Who cares? Air quotes, who cares? And you know, there was another point I was gonna make, but it's fine. We don't need to make it. Wow, look at those body types though. Oh my god, none of these body types are for women. This is disgusting, bro. This is disgusting. Look at this. Oh my gosh. They have no problem. With literally showing off the chest because it's basically a man. It's literally a man. Just isn't it called gynastophilia or screw my life? Whatever. Or oh no, it's gyno. Anyway, when a dude has flabby pecs, okay, that's it. That's all I mean. Okay. So that's pretty much what it is. Like, this isn't even a woman. Did this guy select woman or man? I think this is supposed to be a woman. Oh my gosh. This is a joke. Wow. This is embarrassing, you know. This is embarrassing. I'm gonna be honest. I hate this kind of scale slider for body types in games. There's something about it. It never looks right. It never works. I don't know why it was ever an idea. Is this just for androgyny? Like, oh, anyone can just have more muscle and like, oh, anyone can just have a little bit more of a thin frame or be fat, right? More oval or whatever, obtuse, right? Is that the idea here? Is that anyone can just have any kind of body type or shape or size? So they make, is this like an androgynous body type slider? Because if this were for a man, it would look very different than if it were for a woman. And honestly, just scrap this. I don't know why this is in games. Yeah, no, this is terrible. No, no, no. What an absolute abomination. This is terrible. Oh, OMG. Is this guy trying his hardest to make a woman? How is that a woman, bro? How is that a woman? What is he trying to make? Is he trying to make a... is he trying to make a woman? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Come on, man. Alright, hairstyle. What the frick? The hair looks really good, actually. Yeah, wow, the hair graphics look really good. Well, that's the only good thing they did. The hair follicles look amazing. Wow. Holy crap, bro. I hate that hairstyle on black women. I don't know what the frick this is. I don't know what the frick it is. It looks terrible. 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 Jeez Louise. What the frick? It looks horrible. Why do black women do this type of hairstyle? Oh. It's horrendous. It looks terrible. Terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. I have no words. I don't want to say anything more. What the frick was that? What died on your frickin' head? And called itself frickin' Emperor of Womankind. What was that? Oh my... Okay, bro. Listen, I get it. We're really trying to embrace diversity now. For Anglo-Saxon products, by the way. Dragon Age is based on a lot of Anglo themes, medieval themes, European. I get now we're trying to really embrace diversity, but let's just be very clear about this. Black people need to stop looking like clowns with bad hairstyles. Who the frick thinks that putting shrubbery on your head is a good look? That is shrubbery right there. That is a fern on your frickin' head. Who the frick wants to have a frickin' fern sitting on their head? And then spaghetti hair. No. Listen, let's just face it. White people, they do frickin' civilization better. And white people, they do frickin' hairstyles better. Oh, and then there's the broccoli top, whatever the frick that is, or the nuke hairstyle. Okay, I mean that hairstyle's a little bit extra. Again, the hair looks pretty good, but I mean, like, that's it, right? The characters look terrible, but the hair follicles, wow. I mean, seriously, it's really impressive. Oh my gosh, bro, what are you making? What is this? What is this abomination? Oh my gosh. How are you not pissed with yourself? Wow. Oh my gosh. Are you trying to make someone that's ugly? See, it's hard to even tell. Are we trying to make a freaking gangbanger female here? Your modern day boss babe, who's basically both a Democrat and a Republican at the same time? Good, we got some tribal tattoos from a civilization that had to be colonized in order to be civilized. Yes, very good, very good. I'm glad that we can bring in some native representation here. I am so disgusted. I am so disgusted. Okay, so you can do warrior, rogue, and mage. That's it? There's way more classes in the previous game. And screw my life. Screw my life with these freaking ads. Oh, then, okay, then you can do the factions. Ugh. I hate this so much. Well, okay, it's kind of cool that you can do all these different classes. Alright, combat preset. Okay, so difficulty, that's what it is. Got it. Feminine, pitch. Okay.
Time to get to work.
Hold up.
Time to get to work.
Why does it sound like that?
Time to get to work.
What the heck?
Time to get to work.
What the frick? Alright. Sounds like...
What's he been saying now?
Dude, you can barely hear her.
Well, we're not in trouble.
Wow, that's a man's voice on a woman. What a freaking joke.
Well, let's move.
Let's move. Well, we made it.
Dude, it's like being echoed for some reason or something.
we're here.
What is going on?
All of us.
What
Hi.
the?
We'll be working together.
No, no. I am so disappointed in this game. Oh, that's a really nice graphic, by the way. Good on you. For the graphic. It feels really, feels like I don't know, I'm entering the grand abyss. I'm entering the 64th dimension, where the eclipse has nearly taken over the sun. I'm both enveloped by the lights and the moon at the same time. The mixture of dark and light. The perfect melanated dream. Right here. Yeah, it's a good graphic. I actually like it. And I don't know why I like this symbol, even though it doesn't really mean absolutely anything. I like it. Strangely enough, on the off topic, I've been reading through a little bit of H.P. Lovecraft. It's actually pretty decent. It's actually pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of things to say about it, honestly. But it's pretty good. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. And I definitely enjoy his writing style, H.P. Lovecraft, much more than a lot of other writers. I'm actually kind of immersed and engaged with his writing and his storytelling. And the idea, I mean, basically, his work is to construct the mythos of the Eldritch, the Cthulhian mythos as well. And it's very fascinating. All the concepts, the ideas, the imagery, the symbolism, the iconography, the architecture behind how he weaves and designs the essence of the Eldritch. Especially how they're very cerebral, like a dream-like kind of entity. It's really interesting. And as far as I understand so far, I'm a good portion through it right now. It's like, I don't know. I'm like a fifth through it. There's a lot to his work, but I've been going at it for a few hours now. It's like 7 hours or something. But basically, the Eldritch are these, from what I can tell, they're kind of these projections of the mind. and they exist through the universe as like a life stream of both knowledge, but also tunes and hymns and like sound. So they're basically these existential beings who are made manifest basically of the universe, because they don't come from Earth. They're kind of made of the universe itself. So it seems to be the universe made as a weird manifestation, but it's like a cerebral, cognitive manifestation. It's a projection, or you could say an illusion of the mind. And that's why they have their power through, I guess, utilizing sound vibrations, I think a mixture of light as well as smell. They have a certain odor. They, through their projection and also the alignment of the stars, can affect where they can move across the cosmos, which is really an interesting concept there. And that's everything so far as I'm reading it. It's basically through the alignment of the universe that they can travel. So they're constrained by that, but that allows them to possibly also, if they die at a certain location, they can resurrect themselves if the cosmos, right, the alignment of the stars, which is basically what? I mean, it's light, it's energy, maybe it's radiation. There's all kinds of insinuations of that. But it's so interesting how the Eldritch are basically these manifestations of the universe, I'm going to guess, of energy, or also radiation, or some kind of like wavelength of something else. I don't know what you could. I'm going to guess like radiation. I'm going to guess they're manifestations of both light and radiation. But through their essence, they can manifest as these strange existential beings that have the power through, the properties of the universe, sound, smell, whatever else. They can utilize the molecular matter of the universe, or also the wavelengths, whatever else, to influence biological beings who are ultimately kind of prey, or they're subjects of the universe and all of its molecules and the forces, the overall forces of the universe. They can wield the forces of the universe to influence the minds of organisms. And that's the only way, truly, how the Eldritch can actually operate in the real world. They can't actually do anything themselves. They have to utilize the forces of the universe to influence biological beings to perform out their will. And that's why the idea of, like, let's say hypnosis, or mind control, or delirium, or another word is melody, or melody, M-A-L-A-D-Y. It's not melody, it's malady, I guess. I don't know how you pronounce it, but anyway, it's a really interesting idea, the concept of the Eldritch. And I don't know if it's an idea that has existed before Lovecraft. Whatever it is, though, I mean, he's done a great job so far in all of his writing, really painting a mythos of these Eldritch beings and how they're connected to Cthulhu as well. I guess Cthulhu being the high priest of the Eldritch, as I understand. It's what it seems to be. It's a really interesting idea, and actually got me thinking, okay, we're not going to get too lost in this. I mean, I could keep on going, right? But anyways, it got me thinking about like how interesting storytelling is. There's always this common idea, no matter how we can help it. Our ideas of a mythos is always very similar, because ultimately the idea comes down to this. When it comes down to a mythos, I think for human minds, is that there's always this man. Oh gosh, this is a whole other conversation. Okay. Oh frick, fine, whatever. Anyway, we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna get too crazy with this. Oh, you know what? Screw my life. Okay, let's just brush it with a little bit of a paintbrush here, just for a quick second. But the idea of a man that is outside of life and death, He can go actively between the two. So he's outside of both life and death. He's kind of... It's always the idea that he's the man that can choose purgatory as well, in a weird way. It's interesting because there's this idea so far being covered, and I haven't gone through the whole portion of Lovecraft's work, but the idea is that through these, for one, you have these voodoo cultures, specifically I think in Africa or whatever, in his work that he's writing about this fiction, but right, Cthulhu's being worshipped by these voodoo worshippers from like Haiti or whatever, somewhere in Africa, and I think it's Haiti, but I think it's also in the regions surrounding Haiti as well. And the idea is that they're worshiping Cthulhu for the day that when the stars align, right? The stars have a certain alignment within a certain stone construction, that Cthulhu will be able to be resurrected at that location. And it's very interesting because the idea of it, like the idea of even Cthulhu is very similar to like an idea of like, who is it again? I think it's Horus, right? The same idea for the Egyptians with Horus and Set, as well as Osiris, that whole relationship between the three of them, that there's always this idea of this deity that is a deity or some kind of being that has a certain association within the other deities or just other powers of higher being. They have a special role with human beings or just existentially in general. So I guess with the universe, where they can exist both between liveliness and lifelessness. Again, life and death. But again, liveliness and lifelessness. That's a specific idea about any one of them, right? Jesus walking amongst people, being alive, liveliness, acting in the world, performing miracles, and then lifelessness, right? Being in a tomb, being buried, being put into a grave. Again, liveliness and lifelessness, okay? And that they can go to the in-between, which is a weird purgatory, and they can come back from it, right? So the idea is that they can die and exist in the ethereal realm of wherever death is, and then they come back. And that's the idea with Cthulhu, is that he's existing within the universe, and that when the constellation is correct, by the way, there's a similar idea of constellations in a lot of other things, including the Bible. There's always something about the stars. Whenever we adapt our thinking to a mythos of any kind, and I'm not saying that the Bible's a mythos, but whenever we make just a mythology in general, there's always significance with the stars, okay? Anytime. And even with the Eldritch stuff, like even when Lovecraft was making his stuff, he couldn't help but use a lot of these similar themes in his own stuff. But it's very enticing, and it gets you thinking about a lot. And you sit there, and it's like, this is actually kind of believable too, in a weird way. So that's very interesting, like the psychological level that he's playing on when he's making his work. But anyways, through the alignment of the stars, the idea and the specific constellation that can bring back Cthulhu. So again, he's this lively existential being that operates through people's dreams and as a projection to their mind. But ultimately, he can't actually manifest truly until, for one, the constellation, which is ultimately that's an alignment of energy. That's what a constellation is. Let's just face it, right? Because the stars, they're emitting energy, they're emitting light, and also radiation. And then if that aligns in the right manner, then that can bring back, manifest a certain being, right? The being that's between liveliness and lifelessness. You're between both life and death. And that's ultimately what Cthulhu is. He's existing in a deathly kind of existence in the universe. he's listening for eons, as well as the other eldritch beings. They're listening to the universe. They're a part of the universe. They're a part of the life stream of the universe. But ultimately, the universe has to align itself in a specific way in order for them to travel. And that travel is also indicative of them reforming themselves and bringing themselves, air quotes, back to life, right? So it services as both teleportation and resurrection, as I understand, which is a very interesting idea. That the alignment of the universe in all of its celestial bodies, specifically the stars, which is ultimately, right, the alignment of energy and or radiation, because I think radiation is probably the leading concept behind the stars, because like there's certain things about the powers of the eldritch, as so far as Lovecraft is writing, that seems very radiation based, right? The way that they can affect the minds of living beings seems to be based within radiation. So I'm going to go with radiation. Could be something else, but I think it's radiation. So anyway, so through this alignment though of that energy, that allows them to move across the universe and also manifest themselves, which is it's just a very interesting concept. It makes them both godlike, but also very limited, right? Basically demigods. So it's a very interesting concept, and I don't know where he got the idea, honestly, because it does seem like there's something beyond yourself when you're describing something like the Eldritch. It seems like he must have been on drugs. I'm going to be honest. He must have been on something that was altering his state of mind. That he was tapping into something. And I think the same thing with H.R. Geiger. A lot of these guys who approach a lot of this kind of somewhat dystopian, but also like this like timeless, dystopic kind of symbolisms or iconographies. Whenever they talk about these things or paint these sorts of images, it definitely seems like they're connecting to something that does exist within the universe, but it's on a different wavelength that unless you're on a certain type of drug, you're not going to really comprehend this kind of stuff naturally. I mean, you could try, but it's like, again, I think you have to be on a specific wavelength that we naturally do not possess. So that's what I get the sense of. But anyways, the idea of the Eldritch are just very interesting. And again, the way that they can possess people's minds, and ultimately the way that they lure in your psychology to either want to help them or to even hate them and to want to kill them, or something that they want you to kill. Like they can contort your emotional state to do their bidding. That's also an idea of the Eldritch. Again, they have properties of telepathy, as we understand, and the ability to manipulate the mind and its whims, its sentiments, its desires. So I think it's very interesting. And again, the idea of the Eldritch is just so fascinating. So far as I've been reading it, how they seem like psychological beings, right? Or these cognitive celestial constructs manifest by the universe. It's really interesting, honestly. And so far I've been liking it, and I'm kind of finding that there's not a lot of writers that I can really respect or like, but I think Lovecraft is definitely up there. And then Bram Stoker, I haven't finished Dracula, but from everything I have read so far of Dracula, I've really liked it too. So there's just a certain way of thinking and writing that a lot of older writers, they once possessed, that a lot of writers don't possess anymore. But like, I've been going through this stuff, and it's like, this is the distinction of good. However it is that Lovecraft made his stuff, this is a great expression of how you make good, because also his usage of vocabulary, I really appreciate that as well. I really enjoy it. He's very detailed in but only by necessity. He defines a lot and ultimately pretty concise. and what he's defining when he's explaining things or when he's mapping something out. He tries to paint you an entire canvas and its picture for you as he's delivering an idea. So he really uses his words to the absolute utmost extent to form within your mind the most accurate picture of what it is that he's detailing. Unlike a guy like Tolkien, and again, I don't need to stipulate this, but I like Tolkien for what he is, but he's not my style of writing. He's way too flowery with his language and his descriptions of everything. He just, oh shoot, there was a word I used for it actually recently, but Tolkien though, Tolkien's just way too, I think what he does is that he exaggerates a little bit, or maybe there's a better word for it. Something that means he elaborates further than necessary with his descriptions of his worlds, the scene that you're in. He over describes things in a way that, and I think it's typically through let me think about it. Yeah. I would say it's through adjectives. I think through adjectives he over describes, and that's why he's a little bit flowery with his descriptions of everything. He seems to really like his adjectives more than anything. So he'll really double down into adjectives. And again, he kind of exaggerates. I feel like it's sometimes it's an exaggeration, or he just elaborates further than necessary. Whatever it is, I get the sense that Tolkien just really doubles down to an extent that's just not, it gets me lost quite often, and I can't really stick with the story very well. I just lose my train of thought very easily with Tolkien. But with writers like Bram Stoker and H.P. Lovecraft, I can definitely follow their train of thought. The biggest issue with those guys is that there's just so much information. Typically, they describe things to such a visceral detail that you have to take more time, because they're painting an entire canvas for you. And there's always just multiple layers of detail that they're going into, both like cerebral, and I will say that they're both very cerebral writers. I think that Tolkien, I think he's more of a decorative writer, I would say. I think he's a decorative writer. I think that's a little bit. I would have to think more about that, honestly. But anyways, Bram Stoker and H.P. Lovecraft, though, I really enjoy them so far, and a lot of the writings that I've been looking at. I think they do a good job, and again, they're very descriptive for a lot of intended purposes, including the psychological. So it's both about the material. So what is material that matters? What is all this, like, how do we paint an entire scene within the material world that matters, right? Okay, we're in a tomb. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Blah, blah, blah. Who's in it? What do they look like? What is it? Blah, blah, blah. And then they go even further to talk about the psychological and how you're processing the things that you're seeing, right? So it's very analytical. And in order to be analytical, you have to have that visceral idea at a fine level of what something is. So I like that, and I appreciate that. And it's something that I've just, man, it's been really interesting, though, to read through H.P. Lovecraft so far, because the idea of the Eldritch is actually very fascinating and very captivating as well. I was not expecting myself to actually be kind of, because also like the concept of, what is it, like the underworld, or what is it called? Or is it called the umbral dimension? Whatever it is. The realm of the Eldritch, though, is very fascinating with like these spires. And by the way, you've seen a lot of stuff like this in Remnant 2. They have the Eldritch region of the game. And you've seen this in like Scorn, that game, if you remember that game. We've seen this many times now expressed in media. And I'm noticing something very interesting is that we're seeing a lot of Lovecraftian and Geiger kind of, a lot of Eldritch themed products nowadays. I don't know what that, well, okay, I kind of do know. It's very interesting why people are really embracing that stuff. Like a lot more developers are creating within, okay, and see, that's a whole other conversation. So anyways, we could keep on going with this crap, but there's just so many layers. It's so interesting, and there's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to really engage with when we're paying attention to what is the Eldritch, and what is there's another term for Eldritch, though, outside of Eldritch. Another word is, Cthulhu, or Cthulian, right? Oh, shoot. What's the other one, man? They're called the Old Ones, of course. The Elder Things, right? There's another term for them, though, outside of Eldritch, but whatever. So anyways, that's just something I've been paying attention to recently. It's been very interesting. And a lot of recent fantasy has been going into that kind of stuff, like Baldur's Gate 3 and whatnot. And I'm not saying it's really perfect, but we're getting a lot more now. For the longest time, we were not seeing a lot of Lovecraftian stuff or Eldritch themed symbolisms or themes within our games or products overall. I don't think you see a lot of film, a lot of movies with Eldritch placed within it, but we're definitely seeing a lot more Eldritch being placed within games. So, Eldritch themes, Eldritch concepts, ideas, imageries, whatever it is. So, it's kind of interesting. It's a strange idea because it's so cognitive, you know? It's very psychological. The idea of the Eldritch, which is very interesting. It's very psychological. Kind of has a lot to do with lunacy. But you know, I've heard some of these ideas like surrounding around the Eldritch, around things surrounding like UFO stories. So honestly, yeah, it actually reminds me of that. I've heard some UFO stories that are very similar. They're very largely similar, or maybe adjacent to Cthulian or Eldritch themes, concepts, ideas, or characteristics, traits. So maybe that's what it's connected to. It could be connected to something having to do with aliens, right? Well, then that could go even deeper, but there is concepts, and we're going into this now. I haven't finished it again, but right now I'm kind of reading into, we're now defining how the Eldritch are a part of the dreamscape, right? The dream world, and how they utilize the dream world to influence the minds of men, and ultimately to influence them to do things, granting them revelation through their dreams, whatever it is, utilizing dreams to influence the knowledge or the considerations of men, or just the overall cognitive state. So, yeah, I find it very fascinating, and it's something that I was kind of picking up Lovecraft stuff, thinking that everyone was probably full of it. Anyone that sat there and said like, oh, you know, this is decent stuff. You know, I always heard that people, but you know, here's something about Lovecraft. I've always known that the guy is someone that's not like most people. I've always known that he's a little bit more of an intelligent guy. And it shows in his writing. He's definitely more on the intelligent side. So, yeah, so far his work is pretty interesting, I would have to say. I've been really surprised by, I think, the quality in some way, but okay, more so, I'm really impressed how he's been able to captivate me with his fiction. And that's something a lot of authors can't do for me. So, or just a lot of creatives, air quotes on creatives. Most people are not actually creative. They just mock or imitate other people. And we've been seeing that a lot within the age of wokeness, especially. A lot of people are wannabes of creation, but they can't actually be creative. Very few people can be. And he's been able to prove that he's pretty creative. And I would also say that Tolkien, I think that he does a decent job with the things that he's done. Just to throw him a bone, but there's a few people. I think Dracula by Bram Stoker, within the first bit that I've read, I think he did a really good job. So, anyways, we can keep on talking forever about all this, because this is something I've been putting a lot of time into recently. Finally investing into checking out Lovecraft, and his stuff is pretty good, man. I mean, I'm really impressed, and I'm surprised. I was not expecting myself. It gets me thinking, and actually gets me immersed into his work, which, again, it's something I was not expecting. This is something I typically don't think, but it's like, I think I might actually have to reread his stuff. Everything I'm reading right now, I think I'm gonna have to read it a second time to really pick up on a lot of details that I'm clearly missing right now, because there's so much going on in all of it. It's really crazy. I don't know if I am gonna reread it or take a second shot at any of the chapters, but it's so far really impressive, and I can see a lot of legitimate reasoning to give it a second read around. So I'm definitely taken by surprise. Anyways, this is a weird video, isn't it? I randomly brought up, I was actually planning on talking about all this in a separate video, but I have no idea when I'm going to be making that video, because we got a lot of videos to make right now. So I decided, it kind of works. It's Dragon Age. There is some Cthulian crap in Dragon Age. Let's be clear about that. So not too much, I don't think, but there's a little bit of that, okay? So anyway, I just decided, why not drop it here, right? This is probably the best time to do it. So anyways, we're going to be heading into the next video. We're going to be heading right into the gameplay, or not the gameplay, but the starting of the game. The first part, air quotes, the start of the game for Dragon Age the Veilguard. We're going to see how bad the freaking story is. And again, we're going to see, I'm going to guess the gameplay doesn't look any different, right? It's probably not that engaging. So anyways, dude, this freaking crap is terrible. Let's just look at this one last time. Look at this. The women look like dudes. They look freaking ugly. Oh, by the way, the story and the campaign for Black Ops 6 is absolute dog trash. We're going to be making a review on that very soon here. I am releasing that video, by the way, for the gameplay channel. It is coming out pretty soon. The campaign video. I think it's coming out in 4 days. I think it is. So, yeah, you can check it out. But I could not get far. I could not stand the freaking story for Black Ops 6. And I just ended up roasting the game for like the entire hour. So, oh boy, there's so much to do right now. You have no idea. There's so many things I need to be finishing up right now. Yeah, anyways, the characters look terrible. I don't like the way that their bodies look. Their bodies look pathetic and measly. Everyone's ugly. The women don't have boobs. They look terrible. Basically, they're men. I think that the outfits are actually kind of generic and lazy as well. And look at this. This is terrible. And even the more defined outfits look terrible. But I'm going to be honest with you, in Dragon Age Inquisition, I don't think the outfits were that terrific. I think they were passable, but I don't think they were really that impressive. Outside of that, yep, character designer's terrible. I can't stand the DEI. The Canary look absolutely awful with those horns. And the hair. I don't think they're supposed to have hair. I hate this. Why did they they ruined the Canary. Why did they do this? And also the elves. They ruined the elves. Why is this elf so short? They're supposed to be taller than men, as I remember. Why is the human taller than the orf? I'm sorry. The orf. An orc and a dwarf. An orf. Man, that's an interesting, wow. An orf. Wow. That would look really weird. Anyway, why is this elf look so... Or, well, I guess an orf could also be an elf/orc. That's kind of funny. Anyway, why does this elf look so short? Look at this. Look at this freaking biatch. Why is the human taller than the elf? I mean, they ruined the Canary and they ruined the elves. So I'm really disappointed here. But anyway, that is it for this video.